Welcome to our journey through the fascinating history of Japan, a nation rich in tradition and innovation. From ancient beginnings to modern marvels, Japan's story is one of transformation and resilience. Let's dive into the history of the land of the rising sun. Our story begins in ancient times. The earliest known inhabitants of Japan settled in the archipelago thousands of years ago. Archaeological evidence, including pottery and tools, reveals a rich history of early societies, such as the Jomon and Iewa cultures. The Jomon period, starting around 14,000 BC, is characterized by a hunter-gatherer and early agriculturalist population. Marking the development of a notably complex and sedentary culture, the final Jomon phase marked a pivotal transition in the Jomon period. Around 900 BCE, there was increased contact with the Korean peninsula, eventually giving rise to new farming cultures. Like the Iewa period between 500 and 300 BCE, the Iewa people, arriving from the Asian mainland between 1000 and 800 BCE, brought significant changes to the Japanese archipelago. They introduced new technologies like rice cultivation and metallurgy. As we move into the classical era, the Kofun period to 50538 CE marks a critical stage in Japan's historical and cultural development. It saw the emergence of powerful clan leaders and the construction of large burial mounds. This era laid the groundwork for the emergence of a centralized state. During this time, society was led by powerful clans Jizoku, each headed by a patriarch who performed sacred rituals for the welfare of the clan. This era is characterized by the emergence of keyhole-shaped burial mounds, known as Kofun, and is considered the earliest period of recorded history in Japan. The Nara period, 71079 for CE, marks the establishment of Japan's first permanent capital at Nara. It was a time of significant cultural and political development, influenced heavily by China through the adoption of Buddhism and Chinese-style governance. The Nara period in Japan, spanning from 710 to 794 CE, was a transformative era in the country's history. This period saw developments in government bureaucracy, economic systems, and culture. The capital was initially established in Hige-kai, present-day Nara, by Empress Genmai, and it remained the center of Japanese civilization until it was moved to Nagaoka-kai in 784, and then to Heian-kai, modern-day Kyoto, in 794, leading to the Heian period. The subsequent Heian period, 7941185 CE, began with the relocation of the capital to Heian-kai, modern Kyoto. A smallpox epidemic between 812 and 814 CE severely impacted the population, killing nearly half of the Japanese people. As the Heian period progressed, the imperial court's power waned. Engrossed in internal power struggles and artistic pursuits, the court neglected governance beyond the capital. This led to the decay of the Ritsuri state and the rise of tax-exempt manors owned by noble families and religious orders. These manors controlled more land than the central government, depriving it of revenue and leading to the creation of private armies of samurai warriors. The transition to feudal Japan came with the Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333 CE, where the samurai class emerged as powerful military leaders. The Kamakura shogunate, established by Minamoto no Yoritomo, marked the start of Japan's medieval era, characterized by feudalism and military rule. The shogunate ruled as the de facto government of Japan, but kept Kyoto as the official capital. The Kamakura shogunate faced invasions from the Mongol Empire in 1274 and 1281. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the shogunate's samurai armies were able to resist the Mongol invasions, aided by typhoons that destroyed the Mongol fleet. By 1467, Japan entered another tumultuous period with the Nin War, which originated from a succession dispute. The country fragmented into hundreds of independent states ruled by daimyo-s, effectively diminishing the shogun's power. Daimyo-s battled each other to seize control over different parts of Japan. During this warring states period, the first Europeans, Portuguese traders, arrived in Japan in 1543, introducing firearms and Christianity. By 1556, daimyo-s were using about 300,000 muskets, and Christianity gained a significant following. Despite the internal conflicts, Japan experienced economic prosperity that started during the Kamakura period. The era also saw the development of iconic Japanese art forms like ink wash painting, ikebana, bonsai, no theater, and the tea ceremony. The Sengoku period, or Warring States, period 1467 to 1603 CE, was a time of intense civil war and political fragmentation. It was an era of constant conflict, with regional warlords vying for control of the country. Notable figures like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged during this time. Nobunaga's efforts towards unification received a sudden setback in 1582 when he was betrayed and killed by one of his officers, Akechi Mitsuhide. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a former servant-turned-general under Nobunaga, avenged his master's death and took over as the new unifying force. This pivotal period also witnessed several administrative reforms aimed at promoting commerce and stabilizing society. Hideyoshi also conducted a massive sword hunt to disarm the populace. His reign, although short-lived, laid the foundation for the Edo period under the Tokugawa shogunate, initiating nearly 270 years of stable rule. The Edo period 1603 to 1868 CE, named after the city of Edo, now Tokyo, was marked by relative peace and stability under the Tokugawa shogunate. The Tokugawa shogunate also established a rigid social structure where samurai, who served as bureaucrats and advisors, occupied the top echelons, while the emperor in Kyoto remained a symbolic figure with no political power. The Edo period was marked by substantial growth in agriculture and commerce, leading to a population boom. Japan's population doubled to 30 million in the first century of Tokugawa rule. Literacy and numeracy rates rose significantly, setting the stage for Japan's later economic successes. This era saw the flourishing of Japanese culture, including arts like kabuki theater and ukiyo-e woodblock prints. The period also maintained strict social classes and isolationist policies. Limiting foreign influence, the decline of the Tokugawa shogunate began in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Economic difficulties, discontent among the lower classes and samurai, and the government's inability to deal with crises weakened the regime, paving the way for the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration, 1868 to 1912, brought dramatic change as Japan rapidly modernized and industrialized. The Meiji government undertook a comprehensive modernization program aimed at transforming Japan into a Western-style nation-state. Major reforms included abolishing the feudal Edo class structure, replacing it with prefectures, and introducing Western institutions and technologies such as railways, telegraph lines, and a universal education system. The Meiji period also witnessed rapid industrialization and economic growth. Zaibatsus like Mitsubishi and Sumitomo rose to prominence, leading to a decline in the agrarian population and increased urbanization. By the end of the Meiji period, Japan had successfully transitioned from a feudal society to a modern industrialized nation. The Taisho era, in Japan spanning from 1912 to 1926, was a time of changes in politics and society, steering towards a robust democratic framework. Japan's involvement in World War ally alongside the Allies brought about progress and global acknowledgement, culminating in Japan securing a permanent seat on the Council of the League of Nations. Nevertheless, this era was marred by calamities like the Great Kent Earthquake of 1923 that claimed over 100,000 lives and triggered violence against thousands of Koreans during the Kent Massacre. Japan also encountered domestic economic hardships such as the Severe Depression of 1930 and external challenges like rising anti-Japanese sentiment in China and rivalry with the United States. Japan grappled with internal social and economic challenges that laid groundwork for heightened militarization and authoritarianism by the 1930s. The early part of Emperor Hirohito's rule saw the rise of extreme nationalism and expansionist military endeavors. In late 1941, Japan, led by Prime Minister Hideki Tojo, attacked the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor, pulling the United States into World War II and initiating a series of invasions across Asia. Japan's involvement in World War II had a profound impact on its history. After the war, Japan faced devastation but underwent a remarkable transformation. The post-war era saw rapid economic growth and recovery, turning Japan into a global economic powerhouse. Culturally, the post-occupation period was a golden era for Japanese cinema, spurred by the abolition of government censorship and a large domestic audience. Additionally, Japan's first high-speed rail line, the Tokaido Shinkansen, was built in 1964. Japan also experienced an economic bubble in the late 1980s, characterized by rapid growth in stock and real estate values. This period also saw Japan grappling with demographic challenges, economic competition from rising powers like China, and a host of internal and external challenges that continue to shape its trajectory into the current decade. Emperor Naruhito ascended to the throne on May 1, 2019. In 2022, Japan faced internal upheaval with the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on 8 July, a rare act of gun violence that shocked the nation. Today, Japan is a blend of ancient traditions and cutting-edge technology. From its rich cultural heritage and traditional arts to its leadership in technology and innovation, Japan continues to be a unique and influential nation on the world stage. Japan's history is a testament to its resilience and adaptability. The blend of historical depth and modern dynamism makes Japan a truly extraordinary country. Whether through its historic landmarks, vibrant culture, or technological advancements, Japan's story is one of continual evolution and enduring influence. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Japan's history. From ancient beginnings to modern marvels, Japan's story is a rich tapestry woven with tradition and innovation. Stay curious and keep exploring the wonders of our world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time for more fascinating stories from around the globe.